A feasibility study is a critical assessment tool used in project planning. It evaluates the practicality and potential success of a proposed project. One key benefit is risk identification. By conducting a feasibility study, potential issues and obstacles can be identified early. This allows for the development of strategies to mitigate risks before they impact the project. Another significant benefit is resource allocation. A feasibility study helps determine the necessary resources, including time, money, and manpower. This ensures that the project is adequately supported and avoids resource wastage. Feasibility studies also provide valuable data for decision-making. They offer detailed insights into market conditions, financial projections, and technical requirements. This data aids stakeholders in making informed decisions about whether to proceed with the project. Furthermore, a feasibility study enhances project credibility. It shows that thorough research and planning have been conducted, which can be crucial for securing funding or stakeholder support. Investors and stakeholders are more likely to back a project that has been rigorously evaluated. Additionally, feasibility studies help in setting realistic goals and timelines. By understanding the project's scope and requirements, project managers can set achievable milestones and deadlines, improving the chances of project success. Lastly, a feasibility study can identify alternative solutions. If the initial project plan is found to be unviable, the study may reveal other viable options that can achieve the same objectives. In summary, a feasibility study is an essential tool in project planning that helps identify risks, allocate resources effectively, provide data for informed decision-making, enhance project credibility, set realistic goals, and identify alternative solutions.
In today's video, we have an informative topic that is essential for anyone involved in business planning or project management. We'll be discussing the feasibility study, what it is, types, components, processes, best practices, and more. Before we get into the nitty-gritty details, let's start with the basics. What exactly is a feasibility study? A feasibility study is a systematic and analytical approach used to evaluate the practicality and viability of a proposed project or business idea. It helps you determine whether your idea is worth pursuing, considering factors such as technical, economic, legal, operational, and scheduling aspects. Now, let's talk about the different types of feasibility studies. There are generally three main types: technical feasibility, economic feasibility, and operational feasibility. Technical feasibility examines whether the project can be successfully implemented from a technological perspective. It assesses factors like required resources, equipment, and expertise to execute the project effectively. Economic feasibility focuses on the financial aspects of the project. It analyzes the projected costs, potential revenue, return on investment, ROI, and profitability. This study helps determine whether the project is financially viable. Host. Operational feasibility evaluates the project's impact on the existing operations and resources of an organization. It looks at factors such as workforce, facilities, processes, and compatibility with existing systems. Now that we know the types of feasibility studies, let's explore the key components involved in conducting a feasibility study. These components are crucial for a comprehensive analysis of your project's feasibility. The first component is the project description, where you define the objectives, scope, and deliverables of the proposed project. This helps set the foundation for the study. Next, we have a market analysis. This involves researching and understanding the target market, competition, customer demand, and potential barriers to entry. Technical analysis focuses on assessing the project's technical requirements, such as technology, infrastructure, and resources needed for successful implementation. Moving on to the financial analysis, this component involves evaluating the project's costs, revenue projections, cash flow, and potential risks. It helps determine the financial feasibility of your project. Finally, we have the risk analysis. This component identifies and evaluates potential risks, uncertainties, and constraints that could affect the project's success. It allows you to develop mitigation strategies to minimize these risks. Now that we have a good understanding of the components, let's discuss the general process of conducting a feasibility study. The first step is to define the project's objectives and scope. This sets the direction for the entire study. Next, Gather relevant data through market research, surveys, interviews, and feasibility analysis tools. Analyze the collected data and assess the feasibility of your project based on the defined components. Once the analysis is complete, evaluate the results and make informed decisions regarding the project's feasibility. Finally, compile the findings into a comprehensive feasibility study report that outlines the project's viability and recommendations. To ensure the success of your feasibility study, it's essential to follow some best practices. Let's go over a few of them. First, ensure that your study is conducted by a diverse team with expertise in various relevant areas. This ensures a well-rounded analysis. Second, validate your assumptions and data sources to ensure accuracy and reliability throughout the study. Third, consider involving stakeholders and subject matter experts in the study process. Their insights and perspectives can greatly enhance the study's outcomes. Lastly, revisit and update your feasibility study periodically to account for any changes in the business or market conditions. And that wraps up our overview of the feasibility study: what it is, the types, components, process, and best practices. Conducting a thorough feasibility study is crucial for making informed decisions and ensuring the success of your projects.
The site is one of the best inspirations when designing a home. But beyond the ethereal qualities that a special parcel of land can have, the site also informs us about what can be built. Every site has its advantages and limitations, and understanding both of these factors is the key to designing the best possible home. You need to be able to understand the site before building on it. In a site analysis, we review a wide range of information, from the deed documents to the zoning code to topographical information and solar patterns, visually combining this information into a unified document to better understand how each of these forces affects the property. By the end of this process, we will have revealed the most ideal candidate building locations on your parcel of land. The first step is to read and review the deed documents and compare them against your local zoning code and ordinances. This information will determine what you can build, where you can build, how much you can build, and most importantly, whether you can build in the first place. Between setback requirements, easements, and deed restrictions, building a home on certain complicated sites can be logistically impossible. It's better to realize this earlier than later. The next step is to get a survey, and for this, you'll need to hire a professional surveyor. This allows us to get very precise information about the slope of the site and the location of any trees, boulders, existing utilities, or obstructions. Finally, we'll take the survey data and combine it into a unified document with all of the information we've learned about the site from the deed and zoning code, along with the specific solar patterns, seasonal prevailing wind directions, views and sightlines, floodplains, environmental overlays, potential septic system locations, and any other relevant information we've discovered. All of this information will help everyone working on your project make informed decisions moving forward.
Companies are constantly looking for ways to expand their operations or make them more competitive, but doing so requires a certain amount of planning. The planning for such capital expenses, or those expenses that make a company more competitive or have great abilities, are recorded in the capital expenditure budget, which, generally speaking, is a useful tool when planning how to spend money on capital expenditures, those expenses that will ultimately make the firm more money or more efficient. For a company that is looking to overhaul its equipment or make major changes to its scope of potential operations, the capital expenditure budget is one of the most important documents that can be produced. In this lesson, we'll look at how they are made, as well as how they interact with other financial documents within an organization. Before we start writing a capital expenditure budget, we first have to know what our planned capital expenses are. To do this, planners have to consider where the most pressing needs are for improvement, how advances in technology are most likely to help them, and what the needs of the business are for the coming year. Think about it like this. If you were considering upgrading your computer, you would likely do so if you actually planned on using your computer. Otherwise, it would just be a waste of money. From there, each potential investment is listed, along with the cost and time of year when it is to be purchased. For continuing investments, the cost is split up in accordance to how it will be spent.